for us. There was some pushback within the room. Why this? Why that? I do want to update you on a couple things because we speculated. Is Brandon Cooks still allowed to do his arrow shooting thing? The answer from Al, no, he is not allowed. I said, then what about Steve Smith? Remember when he held the football once and he did like he was dueling with it as though it was a sword?
Right. Yeah.
He said no. He thinks that one will get away with
because that's a sport. But archery,
I don't
too.
know. I said, well, but isn't that a weapon? That's a little weird. Or is it too...
You know when people pretend to put salt on things? I think that could be a weapon. Salt could be deadly.
Anything could be a weapon.
Salt's bad for people. With heart conditions.
Too much sodium, Cynthia.
Yeah. I know. I'm telling you.
Alka-Seltzer is bad, too, for seagulls. So.
There's no specific prohibition on scatology in the new rule. So Doug Baldwin, who pooped a football in the Super Bowl, apparently is allowed to still do that, or is allowed to get back to doing that because they didn't cite that. And he said, I think we're in about 2 weeks into the season. We're going to have to send out a letter to all the teams. Like, no, you guys know better. Don't do stuff like that. Also, then he said, what about if somebody fakes having a baby with the football?
That's already happened.
A lot of people were like piping in. There was a lot of like disagreement or a lot of questions, at least from the audience. But Steve Smith, I was like waiting for him to be like, ask him questions about touchdowns, and he didn't do it.
He was funny though. With he said
the whole time he was funny.
This rule will help the wide receiver be a little safer.
Yeah.
Steve Smith shouts out, "Too late!" You know, stuff like that.
Oh, it's too late for that.
Let's start there, and then we'll get into the game of life. Let's volunteer rules changes that we'd like to see in the game of pro football. Kay Adams, I begin with you.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to go to one that I have talked about for a long time. It's tug of war. I think tug of war needs to be implemented because I hate ties. And instead of having ties, let's have both teams battle it out on the 50 with the rope.
Ooh,
tug
that's
of war.
fun. Wolf, what would be your rules change?
That's really good because I love the dodgeball game, too. Like, I'm kind of sad that we can't bring that back in some kind of type
with
capacity.
a football, it would hurt extra than just that elementary school gym ball if they were throwing footballs at each other.
I know.
Raise stakes.
I would shorten the preseason because I always get so excited for preseason, and I'm like, oh my God, football is back! It's the first week of the preseason, and then I remember it's the preseason, and I hate the preseason.
This year it's going to be different, right? Because they don't have the cut. They changed the rules for when you cut players, like
the cut down days,
it's not like 75, whatever. It's like all and then 53. Like they changed the way the rules work with that. So maybe this preseason, I'm trying to be hopeful here. Maybe it'll be more interesting because you'll get to see those players who are fringe players, like maybe actually try. And I love like the guy trying to make the team. Like I love that. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
So maybe without the extra cut down days, you'll have more.
Maybe I hadn't considered that is probably going to be the result.
But you also have preseason broadcasting.
Oh
yeah.
Gold. You're right.
Correct.
It's so fun.
The local broadcast.
Just people trying to make it or trying to learn names. And even me, like I work for DirecTV on Sundays, and that we do our rehearsals every preseason game because it's hard to fake that or practice it. You have to do it when there's live action because we cover live games, and it's like the fifth string running back that you don't know the name and you're trying to like figure out like who did what, and it's so fun to hear people like number 57 and you like hear it in there. I like preseason.
Actually, I think you're right though, Cindy Freeland. I think that is going to be the result. Is that you're never going.
So maybe they addressed it. They heard your complaint.
They're just never going to play
the rules been changed.
The relevant guy.
The sun is shining.
Colleen called for it, and it came true. I mean,
my work here is done.
Exactly.
I think. Well, how about you, Freeland? Go ahead.
I mean, you know where I'm going here, right?
No, I don't.
I hate overtime. I hate the construct of overtime. I think everyone should get a possession. It should be more like college.
Tug of war.
I like. And then if it's still after a whole quarter, then they can tug of war like penalty kicks.
Wait, so what do you?
I would like them to have I don't think it's fair that like if you happen to be the team that like gets the ball first and you score, then the game's just over and you win. What
do you want to do?
I'd like to have it more like college. So each team gets a possession, and I don't like the college thing where like if it's a touchdown, like I don't like the whole like the if-then scenario where there's like a decision tree. It's like you get the ball once on this line and you get the ball once on this line, and then you do it again and then you do it again and then you can't go do a kick if not.
I really do like that.